The grounding problem in moral philosophy concerns the idea that in order for moral frameworks to have any morality, to have any kind of binding force, to have any punch behind it, its ground needs to be unavoidable. It needs to be non-arbitrary. Otherwise, if it is, then what you think good and bad is just like I like chocolate and you like vanilla, and there's not a correct answer to that. It's just subjective. And current moral frameworks all fail to deliver a grounding that is unavoidable, non-arbitrary. And that therefore, by having that non-arbitrary nature in it, gives ethics authority. Not only current moral frameworks do not provide any kind of, do not solve the grounding problem, some of them, even though they can be objective, their objectivity is conditional. For example, maximizing happiness or maximizing or what is it? Or reducing suffering or whatever it may be. There may be objective ways of measuring and achieving those goals. So in that sense, they can claim objectivity, but their objectivity is conditional. It exists inside their frame, their premise. And their frame, their premise is the stated goal of achieving happiness or whatever it may be. But that premise is arbitrary. It's not unavoidable. It is not non-arbitrary, non-optional. It is something that can be chosen and that needs to be chosen, needs to be endorsed, needs to be agreed upon, needs to be accepted. So their objectivity is a kind of an artificial one, in the sense that it only exists inside its own frame, which is in itself a chosen arbitrary frame. So in order to solve the grounding problem, we need to identify non-optionality. We need to find something that is non-arbitrary, that is unavoidable. And what I propose in MetaEthics is that the ethics of metaphysical congruence is that these unavoidable, non-optional structures are reality and awareness. Reality and awareness are non-optional structures. And what we mean with reality and awareness here, we have to understand them here minimally, in essence, what they are. Reality, the fact that something is, and awareness, the fact that experience occurs. And I'm using the word fact here, even though it's a word to describe empirical things. I'm just using the word fact as just a way of speaking. In English, we use that. Just a way of saying the reality, the fact, the truth that reality is, there is reality and we are in it, and that experience occurs. Now, whatever you want to make of them, we don't need to identify what they are, if it's a simulation or not. If these two things are of reality and awareness are one and the same thing or distinct things. Monism, dualism, idealism, any kind of philosophy of mind, it's not really relevant for now, or it's not relevant at all for our moral framework here for metaethics. The only thing that is necessary is to understand them minimally as what they are in essence. Again, reality, the fact that something is, and awareness, the fact that experience occurs. And these two things are undeniable. There's simply no way around them. Denying them, questioning them, or whatever it may be, can only occur in reality. We can deny or doubt or be skeptical of reality and awareness in reality and while being aware of it. So they are therefore non-optional because of their inevitability. Because of that, reality and awareness are, we can easily and very defensibly state that they are in fact non-optional, non-arbitrary. And that's it. We have just identified non-optional, non-arbitrary structures. And now we can, and this is the first axiom in MetaEthics, the Ethics of Metaphysical Congruence, we can state these structures as the ground of ethics. For ethics to have any kind of authority, it needs to be grounded in something that is non-optional. And that non-optional ground is the ground of reality and awareness. That's the non-optional structures. That's the solution to the grounding problem in moral philosophy. Now, a natural objection would be to say that so far we did nothing. The only thing that we did is to identify metaphysical, or someone could argue they are not even metaphysical, structures. We simply identify something in the world or something ontological, and that's it. However, there's a reply to that objection can be twofold. One, that in order to solve the grounding problem in moral philosophy, we don't need to have moral normativity yet. We need to identify non-optional structures that can be, at least in principle, the ground for ethics. And we have so far. Secondly, the objection implies heavily that moral normativity or any kind of good and bad definitions, moral good and bad definitions, and any kind of decision procedures must be added from the outside of these structures. But that's a heavy implication and a misjudgment. It doesn't have to. We don't need to go outside of these structures to derive from them moral normativity. For now, the only thing that we are doing is the first axiom of metaethics, is simply identifying them, these structures, as non-optional, as non-arbitrary. They are not chosen. They are not chosen premises. They are not premises that we can select. They are there and they are unavoidable. And we are identifying them as, because they are unavoidable, the rightful place to anchor, to ground morality in. And that's it. And that's what we have done. Now, for more moral normativity and so on, we need to go further into the second axiom, and that will be the next video. For now, this is the first axiom. And if you want to understand the whole framework already without waiting for the next video, you can just go to the description below and read the white paper. But that's it for this video and for the solution of the grounding problem. And I'll see you in the next one, where we'll discuss the second axiom of metaethics. Until then, be well.